Okay, and we're starting. So yeah, the first team that we're gonna have in is called Team Fund the Restaurants, and I think Rochelle is letting them in now. And then once they're all ready to go, we should be able to let them present. Song and Mohammed, do you guys
Hello?
there?
I'm here, yeah. I can start.
Yep, yeah, whenever you're ready.
You said that fund the restaurant, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I'll show my screen. Hi everyone, my name is Sean and I'm a full stack developer. I built this application called Fund the Restaurant, which is a dApp that allows customers to donate funds to the restaurants. So right now, many restaurants are losing revenue because of the pandemic. They don't have much customer like they used to, and they are behind on their rents. And also they have to spend more money for cleaning products such as hand sanitizer and face masks. So the solution is to have a funding for the restaurants and customers. They can donate to the restaurants, and restaurant owners can create a post to promote their restaurants. Then they can also post what they need. And it's time for the demo. Okay, so here's the dApp, and you now right now you're seeing the list of restaurants where the owner needs fundings. And let's say you want to create a post so you can request fundings if you're the owner. So you will click on add restaurant and enter the information. And then the location of your restaurant, maybe for a customer to visit you. And maybe picture of the restaurants and how much you need and the descriptions of why you need these fundings. And create, then confirm. And there it is, the restaurant is created. And let's say if you're a customer and you want to support the restaurant, well, first I will change it to the customer's wallet, and then select the restaurant you want to donate. So we will donate to Joe's Dinner, and then this is how much that the owner needs, and then you click on donate and enter the amount, 150 ETH, and sent, and then confirm. Okay, so as you can see, the amount that this restaurant owner needs, it went down to 150. And here's the donation knob where you can see who donated to this restaurant owner. And that's it for this demo. Now we'll go back to the slide. So in future developments, I will implement credit derogation or fractional using AAVE, so the restaurant owners can borrow money, and maybe the customer can earn interest when they deposit funds. And I'll also implement gas station network to cover the gas fee, and then also allow customers to donate with Bitcoin, DAO, or other cryptocurrency instead of just ETH. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Yep, that's all I got.
It seems like a very forkable thing in the first place, right? You could turn this into, you could fork this thing, like it's specifically being used for restaurants right now, but you could fork this into any kind of like Patreon style, or even like just like a shopping cart page, right? It's very close to, I put a list of things in and someone comes in and pays ETH for those things. You've got that Patreon limit there. The stuff that you mentioned at the very end was the most exciting stuff to me, like the credit delegation stuff. That seems like perfect for this, or even just like RDI, like the kind of like yield redirection where someone could lock up money in favor of the restaurant and the yield could flow to the restaurant, but then they could pull their funds back. And maybe by doing that, they get some, cool incentive to come visit the restaurant when things open up, right? You can have that log on chain and you can audit that they were there. Good job.
Yeah.
Great forkable project.
Something along the same line I wanted to say, it's missing a very low-hanging fruit, which is something for the donor to get some sort of receipt from his donation. So let's say eventually the pandemic goes away and restaurants can resume their businesses without basing their revenue on donations. And it would be nice that those that were on the bad times get some sort of badge or something, or just a mention, because right now you can't put your name or anything. So something for tracking who has donated seems to be something fundamental.
Yeah, this is really nice. I also enjoyed the presentation. I think it's really generalizable, as Austin just mentioned. I was wondering whether you would also want to add at some point, or you were thinking of like creating maybe some like more involved incentive mechanisms where people would maybe benefit who are like the first donators, maybe or like somehow projects will maybe show up earlier or not like more prominent on the page, or just some like a kind of curation market type of thing, whether this was a consideration.
Yeah, I tried to do like credit verification, but I couldn't get to work.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, it's only about time for you to get the knowledge for adding those more advanced features.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Also, I was thinking about like doing loaning, like restaurants, they can borrow more money if they have more customers buying something from their product using like transferring ETH to the wallets.
See, and your team, is it a party of two, or is it only yourself?
By myself. I'm by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought, I don't know why I thought there were someone else.
I was like confused.
So hopefully this has been a nice experience for you to pursue a career on the space.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And to dig into that some more, think of a fork, think of a new direction to take this. Look at what you can fork this into and turn this into something new. So many times I found myself learning in the space just by like making something, then making something new, and then making a new thing. It takes a long time to get traction and keep going and keep building. And this will be a great space for this kind of innovation.
Okay.
And it's also a great time now to be involved with like this kind of crowdfunding donation project now with the like Corona situation. That's really a good spot to be in now with this.
Thanks, Song.
Oh yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, man.
You.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks so much. Next up, I believe we have another team by the name Awesom Pensions. And I believe that is Tony who's in the room.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So yeah, take it away.
Okay. Will you be playing the video for me, or I can play it over here? It's not a problem.
I have a note saying we're playing the video. Let me just check with Rochelle if she's on top of that. One second, sorry. All right, are you able to play your video, Tony?
Yeah, I can play it. It might be a bit laggy because we've got cold weather and the network's just gone crazy. So
got it.
Just bear
okay,
with me.
let's give it a try. Just a quick check. Should there be video? There be audio so far?
All right. Something we don't think about until we're replaced by somebody much younger. With back-to-back crises, layoffs, and bills that just need to be paid, and age all coming at the same time. What are you gonna do, TikToker? That's right. You are gonna get an awesome pension. Yes, awesome, totally. So what's an awesome pension? Well, to help you out, let's start with normal pension. Usually 40 years in length, and if you're lucky, 5% return on your 100K pot per month, if you're lucky. If you're late, you have to pay 145,000 per month, only to get a measly 23,000 per year. That's just not awesome. Awesome pensions. We're here to help you out. With more people working in the gig economy and not having the ability to save, we have 3 great products. Our standard class, which reduces your pension time down to a mere 20 years. Our premier class, and our defiant class, all of which perform better than your standard high street pension. With our standard class, you simply pay your premium. You can upgrade to any of the other 2 classes. And if you don't like the policy, you can simply cancel it. Everything is done on the Ethereum blockchain. With our standard class, you also have the ability to monitor the elapsed time, so how much time you've been paying it, see how full your pot is, understand your average interest, how much money you have left to pay, and how many payments you've made on time, so as to keep yourself on track. Now that's awesome. We are Awesome Pensions.
Okay. That's an awesome video.
Awesome pitch. Yeah.
Thank you.
We got to dig into the technical stuff, though. Tell me how it works underneath, right? What does the contract do?
So what the contract does is that it's a very straightforward contract. It basically allows you to, well, it uses a gateway pattern. So you buy yourself a pension, right, paying over Ethereum and the UI. And then what happens is that it creates a specific policy just for you, right? And that policy has its own pot. And that pot basically uses a strategy service that basically tells it, here's an investment scheme, right? You invest in this currency, this time, in this pot, in AAVE, right, for this long. And then the thing is that it'll come back, make it 2%, and then keep that compounding for the whole period. So as soon as you bought it and put the money in, it's already started earning for you using the DeFi protocols at the back. And basically it uses, I think it's 1 inch for, what was 1 inch for? I think it was for currency. Chainlink was for pricing. 1 inch was for swaps. That was it. Because you have to switch between different currencies in AAVE have different earning rates. So we have to do the switch for that because AAVE doesn't natively support, being able to just swap between different currencies and so on.
Is there some dynamic like management of the funds, or do you just set like the policy at the beginning and then it would stay like this, or would it change maybe later?
No, the policy basically we have like a diamond which polls, right? It polls your policy. And then that basically just gives you the execution thread, because I'm still trying to figure out how we can efficiently do execution threads in blockchain. So it's a bit of a problem for me. And basically what that does is that once the policy gets that, it then goes to the strategy service and says, hey, what's the best thing happening right now, right? That's going to give me 2% on my money, as quickly as possible. Because the goal of the business model is basically to earn 2% per month, right, on whatever you put in, right? Ideally, if you keep it at that $50 every month, by the end of it, 20 years later, you should be able to earn a nice, healthy 5K a month, which means you will definitely be able to retire.
That's really nice. I like that. So the strategy is basically set based on the policy. Then
yeah. Any other questions?
I wanted to like dig into the tech even more. You've kind of mentioned 1inch, you've mentioned Chainlink for your oracles. I think you even mentioned that you're using the diamond standard, or there's facets there. There's a ton of tech there. I wasn't sure if that's what you were saying. Can we get like a link to the repo? So like normally what I'd like to see is like a demo where I get to get in, click in and do this stuff, like send my pension or send like a fake pension where I send one every 15 seconds or something like that to see it. That's what I want to get my hands on it. So definitely like if you could send us a link or give us something that we can interact with or a repo that we can play with, I think that's the key here.
Yeah, I mean, still work in progress, right? But yeah, I can get a link sent over. Yeah, it's not a problem.
And I think a key here is like, keep going, keep building, keep iterating. I just said this and I feel like I'm going to say this a million times, but like throw things away, build things, throw things away, build things, expand, reduce. Like this kind of process in this space takes a while, and it may take a while to get someone to click. What you're describing is something awesome that people want to use, but we just need to have something to play with and use too, right? We need that front end.
Yeah, no, I mean that's absolutely great. I appreciate that, because I mean, in terms of the application, I was really looking at, the ladies in the market, they can save $50, they can't give you $300 a month, and a lot of people, gig workers, they're running into this problem, and it's not a problem that's going to hit you tomorrow. It's a problem that hits you when you can't work no more. And so the goal is to make sure that this project does see the light of day and it does get out there. And I will get you some testnet deployed contracts, and then you can tell me and give me some advice in terms of how to make it much better.
Heck yeah.
Well, thanks so much, man. It's great.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, so next up, I believe Xavier, Jack, and Kevin in here. Team Haciendas. So are you guys here? You ready to go?
Yep. We're gonna share the screen and play the demo video.
Sounds good. Take it away.
Can you guys see the screen?
Yep.
Are you new to DeFi and finding you have no clue how to make a transaction? Do you find it hard to wrap your head around token swap and liquidity pools? It's so confusing it's even being called weird DeFi. No one really knows what's going on. You're not alone in being confused, and Haciendas is here to help. At Haciendas, we're on a mission to make DeFi more accessible and fun for new users with an interactive game. As it is now, innovations in DeFi often come with clumsy interfaces, complex lingos, confusing metrics, and opaque back-end processes. So how can we make a smooth transition from conventional finance into DeFi? Haciendas is the game we are building to do just that. It's easy to learn and fun to play with the goal of making players comfortable with DeFi protocols. Here, we will take you on a fun and interactive guided tour to swap, deposit, borrow, and stake. You can select your character and meet other characters in the game. Discovering DeFi protocols doesn't have to be lonely anymore. You can meet and chat with other DeFiers and make a few friends along the way. In the game, you have assets stored in your inventory. Use them to deposit, swap, transact, and borrow. Not only can you see how many tokens you have by opening the inventory, you can also drag them around for making real-world transactions. Not only can you chat with other players, but you can also transact with them using real cryptocurrencies. You can send money to artists, your friends, family, or anyone else in the game you like. If you'd like to exchange your tokens for some other coin, you can go visit the market and swap out ETH for DAI or several other coins, all without leaving the game. We've leveraged the power of 1inch exchange, so you can easily exchange your coins for others with the least hassle possible. Giving players the chance to make real transactions without leaving the gameplay will remove friction from the transaction experience. Haciendas integrates with advanced functionalities to help users learn to use liquidity pools. The liquidity pools are represented in a visual way, so it's easy for users to understand the process. For example, you can deposit your tokens into AAVE liquidity pools and borrow from the loan officer. You can also enter the AAVE governance building. Once greeted by this cute little ghost, You can read ongoing proposals and discuss them in the appropriate room with other players. Players can even vote on proposals from the game. We believe removing friction from this process will encourage greater participation in the voting. We hope this video made you want to learn more about the exciting world of DeFi, and we're happy you're starting your journey with us.
Give me the website. I want to go play it right now. Send me the link.
The link is in the dashboard, the project dashboard.
Amazing. So it's live?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, you can play with it.
What's a link?
Oh,
I will post it.
Amazing project, by the way. So I remember ETH New York, I don't even know when it was. One of the ETH New Yorks a couple years ago, year ago, the FlexDApps guys like basically gamified taking out a loan from Compound, and it just made it way more fun. It got a lot more interaction. It made it more and that's exactly what you've done here times like Zelda, which is so freaking cool.
Thanks. Yeah, the idea is to make it fun and join real world metaphors. To make these abstract concepts more tangible for people who aren't used to DeFi. So this target audience is really like a very large sort of people who are new to DeFi, people who have interacted maybe with the wallet, but not quite proficient in using staking or borrowing these more advanced features, and introducing them to tokens like governance tokens on Aave and things like that. So it's bridging that gap between legacy apps and conventional banking systems, and like this very abstract DeFi layer.
It's really cool. So I'm wondering which of those features or use cases was the most difficult to like explain or convey in a gamified way to people?
Liquidity pools are definitely more challenging to explain. And I think having this, what we design is a liquidity pool, like literally a pool, the tokens swimming around. So kind of drawing the metaphor, like dropping your tokens in the pool and then taking some other coins out. I think that really explains what happens on the back end, because right now, all of the dApps have zero sort of system feedback on what's going on after you send something. Even when I go on Aave, like I deposit some DAI, I don't really know what's going on. So I think having that, that visual feedback is really important for raising the confidence in new users.
So that's really cool. Your tokens now then inside the pool, like swimming around or something, you can fish them out like.
Well, there's a loan officer standing by the pool, so they wouldn't let you just to jump in the pool and take things out without permission.
So do you have plans for continuing this? Because it could be fun. There are so many DeFi products that you could have a real world with tens of different scenarios and have endless fun. And I could imagine different ways to monetize this, whether it's from incentives from the teams or there are many ways that you could monetize it. So is it your plan to continue developing this?
Yeah, we're scheduling a call with Matic this week. We got their attention, so I think there's definitely plans to continue this and explore all the ways we can monetize it as well. Right now we're just integrating with different platforms.
Sounds like a lot of fun, and thinking adding L2s, it's over 100 different words you could have, like with different portals. If you are on Optimism and then you need to move to Matic, and of course, making it an educating experience could be very hard from a UX point of view. How do you make people have fun and learn? But if you nail it, this could be a massive onboarding tool. So I hope it goes well.
100%. And I just want to echo that. If you nail it, it can be so like this thing that is here is like a very, very similar thing to something that I'm spending like a lot of my time working on also. Like this is really good stuff. Good work. I'm
maybe
transactions out of a pool right now. Yeah, you definitely should come talk to Austin Griffith sometime. Please.
Yeah, Austin is too humble to say, but his ETH.build thing is a nice complement of this. Both things should totally go together. Like if someone is getting a little more experienced, it's like the natural next step after you nail the graphic interface. So you should totally check his work out, which is ETH.build.
Yeah, I found that link on your bio, in your Twitter bio.
And very good luck. Hope we see this evolving in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys. That was awesome.
Excited to see more.
Looking forward to sharing this stuff on Twitter, getting more people to like play around with it also. Cool. Next up, let's see, Edward Amore, I believe, with West Texas Oil. Interesting. You ready to go?
Yeah, let me share my screen.
Right,
Oh
cool.
man,
You
where's
got
Evan
you
Van
got this.
Ness? This is perfect for Evan
Exactly.
Van Ness. He got the wrong judge.
Hi, my name's Andy Kay, and I'm part of West Texas Oil, and we're really excited to present to you a novel solution to oil theft in West Texas. We've got a great team, and one of them actually is an industry expert in the oil and gas industry, and I'll allow Kenneth to kind of introduce the problem to you.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Luster. I work in the oil and gas industry and recognize the ever-increasing need for the utilization of blockchain technologies within all sectors of oil and gas. After seeing the major concern of crude oil theft within the supply chain of oil production.
The solution we developed reconciles the bill of lading between midstream suppliers and end-stream refiners from Midland, Texas to Houston, Texas.
This is our demonstration of the front end of our project. Right now, we only have our supervisor logistics handled. And the way that a supervisor would interact with this project is they'd come over to the add BOL view, and here they'd input the information important for creating a bill of lading. Some of the stuff that's already pre-filled out here is the contract address of the bill of lading contract and the funding token contract that we're using. In real life, they'd most likely use a stablecoin contract like USDC or DAI or USDT. And then before, also a good thing to mention is that before actually creating the BOL and coming here, they'd have to approve the bill of lading contract to take out a deposit amount, which we would add in the future, a field that just says value and they can input. Here we already have the pre-filled out information. So this is the driver Ethereum address that will get the bill of lading. This is the serial number. And all these zeros are just the coordinates for the origin, the point of origin, and the point of destination. In the future, we'll use something like the Google Maps API to translate real-life addresses to latitude and longitude, and kind of like, you know, not let people deal with that messy stuff. And then lastly, the quantity of crude oil in metric tons that a driver will be taking. Once all this is filled out, the supervisor can then click Add BOL, and this will create a BOL by creating a transaction. They'll click, you know, create, confirm, and then send that off to the blockchain. Once this is done in the future, we hope to actually display this for our driver. Each driver would obviously have a different view, and the way we do that is by an event within our create BOL.
As far as the next steps, we plan to implement the ERC 2535 Diamond standard to allow for upgradability, integrate with third-party fiat on-off ramps such as Wire, pay drivers sooner, and accrue interest on payments such as with AAVE. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thanks a lot. I think that was interesting. So I'm just wondering, this bill of lading contract, is this like a real world contract that is somehow represented now like on the blockchain, or is it like a blockchain native contract? In the first...
This is an industry standard contract that's used right now. It's like handwritten. There are a couple of different forms, but they generally contain similar criteria that kind of represent, you know, where the oil is on the supply chain, but it's quite analog right now. So this kind of digital.
Even like signed messages could be really powerful here. A lot of the things that you do along the way, you can be signing with a key pair, and then that can be cryptographically checked without having to write that on chain. And that might help with your chain of things too. Cool project though. It's cool to see the UI. It's cool to see you pasting addresses in there and firing off transactions. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, we stumbled into some issues on the front end, and we ended up scrapping. there's quite a few days of work I put in that.
I gotta show you. I gotta show you Scaffold ETH. I got this tool made for building front ends for Web3.
You know what Mohammed said?
Next time,
we should mention that
hackathon.
to you specifically. Mohammed, who did the social recovery wallet, not to show a different project, but yeah. So it was really fun, and we see. I come from a little bit of a supply chain background, and so I see a lot of handoffs here, and it's a very high ticket industry, although it is, you know, decreasing. That just signifies to me that there does need to be optimization of your bottom line. And this is one of those things, like reduce loss on the supply chain. So your product's more profitable. You got to keep it above the break even, because last year oil was down to less than $0 a barrel because you had to account for, you know, storing it. So I think it's a pretty interesting industry to address this problem through.
Is factoring also something? Oh. Are you also considering to like have some kind of factoring in, like where people can get like money for like their bills, or they're like...
Oh yeah, that was like when we're thinking big picture, because Kenneth, he's worked in the industry for a decade, so he's seen a lot of this, and you know, he addressed so many, like when we're trying to do the problem solving thing, we set out trying to solve like a real world problem. You know, I think that's where the most interesting aspect of blockchain is for me. Not that, you know, solving like a lending protocol or something isn't a real world problem, but this is more tangible to me. So when we started addressing this, Kenneth was like, hey, it takes a long time for drivers to get paid, like sometimes 3 weeks if you're owner op.
I think we might be losing you a little bit, Andy. I'll just say it's great to have people, folks that are technical like yourself, that are also very interested in Ethereum, like kind of this sort of cohort kind of thing going on here. Like keep building that stuff. Something that you might find when you take on a big ambitious project like this is that there are these holes along the way that you find that if we were to fast forward to what this, you know, what West Texas supply chain looks like in 10 years, it's going to be different, and maybe some of the little holes that you found along the way, attack one of those little things, solve that problem first, and start building these things up. So then in 10 years we've got all this stuff in line. But stick around in the Ethereum community. That's my biggest shill that I will give to you.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
I have a little question, because I don't know the industry. Are there smallish players that are willing to go and use bleeding edge technologies, or is it mainly like super big corporations that it's impossible to get them on board?
So that was definitely a big concern of ours, because I talked to one of my dad. He teaches supply chain on the East Coast, and I talked to one of his professors, and they're kind of bearish on trying to integrate it. But a lot of these are the owner operators. The suppliers are on the smaller side. They're like mom and pops that are contracted by Shell. So I do think that there's an opportunity there if we decide to prove it. But thanks so much, guys, for your time and consideration. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, man. And one quick mini note, just to what Patricio said. Like, I happen to know a guy who has built some relationships with BP, who's trying to help BP get into this industry, and he actually has like close contacts with them that in such a way that they would be willing to actually allocate a lot of money to a project that could allow them to tokenize some of the things that they're already doing, whether it's commodities, oil, or otherwise. And I always kind of thought, like, I'm not sure how this will play out, but it seems like you guys are actually might be a really interesting fit to talk with this guy, who seems to have all like these connections, but not quite the technical expertise, but you have a lot of the technical expertise as well. So maybe DM me on Discord and I can help facilitate that introduction.
That's absolutely
Same thing. I'll throw Karen in there too. Karen Scarborough is kind of in the space, knows this kind of stuff too, and Evan, of course. But reach out to both of us. Let's link up. Let's see what we can connect you with.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
Alrighty, moving right along. So the next team up is Nerd DeFi or N3R DeFi. I have the video, Craig, that
Yes,
I downloaded off YouTube. So let me try and set that up for you.
Thank
So
you.
Give me just a second here. Let's open up the video file. Just one more second, sorry. Launch your video, share channel.
We've got it. Oh, there it is.
Before this project, I wanted to incorporate all the things I enjoy or love about crypto and combine them into one platform. So the technologies I used were Matic. I also integrated the Arcane widget. I did a play on Aweave, and I also enjoyed their anti-design, so I tried to work around something like that. I also used Aave's protocol for the A tokens and also the borrow lend functionality and also the governance. I also tried to integrate the subgraph using the graph protocol. So here's just a view of my Arcane network wallet. So run through, this is Nerdify. I'm just going to quickly connect my network. See, I'm not connected. My wallet. Here we go. And now I can also load up my Arcane wallet. Loading, now my account is loaded. And here I also have a network switcher. So if I switch my network up via MetaMask, it should show that I'm now on the Koba network. Okay, so in short, Nerdify is basically an ecosystem. So firstly, we have our diamond contract Nerd NFT. There's only 10,000 of these, and this is styled around a CryptoPunk or CryptoKitty. So that just represents my nerd token. And then we would have nerdy tokens, which is basically our currency. So to have a 8-bit NFT platform and marketplace where you can create NFTs and sell them and stake them. And I also have my Safu Vault, which is basically a security system. So any monies that come in from the nerd tokens would go into that as a security system. So with Aave, I was working on integrating all their coins or tokens where you could deposit, borrow, and then I was going to do a flash loan system, probably on the Safu protocol. Then I was also doing a play on Aweave. So if you would stake Ghost or Nerdy tokens, you could get a nerd token in the end. So we'll play on that. And then I did my Safu protocol over here. And then again, just a bit on the DeFi ecosystem. And then finally my NFT marketplace, which would incorporate OpenSea. So in addition to this, I also wanted to build out analytical tools, more on the side of the NFT marketplace, and then also do a synthetic swap, which I thought could be a cool project. Anyway, this is a short presentation on Nerdify. Hope you enjoy it.
Love the UI. Go ahead.
Thanks.
So this is really comprehensive. This seems like really like encompassing like the whole range of DeFi protocols that are out there. So like an integration of basically everything, more or less.
A bit of a playground for me, yeah.
That's exactly right. It's like this. It's
Yeah.
so cool that you can extend any of these protocols you can just permissionlessly build whatever front end you want on top of it. So what you did was like, let's make this like 8-bit playground, this sandbox where there's all these buttons for all these different things you can do. You want NFTs? We got NFTs. You want to borrow? We can borrow. I love it. That's fun. I like the interface. Go ahead. Sorry.
I try to put a lot of focus on the governance, with it being a diamond contract and allowing you to sort of upgrade it and that type of thing. So the SAFU protocol is sort of based around that whole governance, where you've got your sort of players in the game, and the more they're interacting, the more they're providing or getting weight in the system, giving them a sort of a higher ranking. So a different way of looking at governance, sort of centralized but decentralized fashion, if you can call it that. So the sort of concept would be for like SAFU protocol, the idea is that would be like an insurance for the crypto industry, and all your bigger players would be like your nerds. So for example, AAVE would be a nerd, or Compound, and they're all sort of putting skin in the game, if you can say that. So that's why I sort of try to focus around that governance theme. I can say that. Cool. Thanks.
So is the nerdy token like a governance token in the end? And can you like get it like through yield farming, or what's the exact use case?
So the nerd token is the NFT diamond standard. So that almost becomes your governance. The nerdy is just like a currency. So I was sort of playing with the idea of having like a DAI or a currency. So I sort of looked at Gotchi, and they've got the ghost token, which you can stake, and then basically you get your portals or your haunts. So I wanted something which was high in value, but could be traded and given away, if I can say that. But the actual nerd token is your governance.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You have to be an actual nerd to get a nerd token.
Well, my idea with that is like, it shouldn't really be based on a price, but more just one per person. So you're really almost decentralizing the platform, if I can say that fully. A lot of guys, like if you look at hash masks, someone can go and buy 10 of them, and then they've almost captured the market type of thing. So that's where I wanted it to be a bit more even spread.
So you built out an awesome UI, you deployed an NFT, and you have something set up so people can collect the NFT. Like there were some smart contracts that went, but can we talk through just like what was some of the hardest parts? Like how would you make it better for the next guy?
Sure. I think the sort of one-click farming and yield farming, I think there's a bit of a barrier entry there to just the normal folks. That's why I sort of wanted to make it quite easy to, log into the system with Arcane Wallet and create a wallet if you don't have one. So almost trying to eliminate MetaMask and that functionality if I can. And then, just making it more fun and interactive. So the more you stake or do different things, you can get rewarded with NFTs and different prizes, etc.
What about for the builder, for the guy who wants to build this next front end, build the same thing you built? What advice would you have for them?
Just keep trying. This was quite a lot of tech. So I found I sort of had to just say, I've got 2 days for this and build what I could, and then put it down and go on to the next thing. But it's not as difficult as what it seems, when you look at these different protocols like Yearn and that, and when you start to deep dive, it makes a bit more sense. It's good.
That's
good
awesome to hear.
experience.
Stay in the space.
Yeah.
Keep building. Keep building.
Excellent. Thanks.
Subgraph.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much.
Right on. Cool. Next up, we have Team OctoBay, and I'm also going to play a video. Hey, do you guys have video on yourselves? Maybe you can set yourselves up while I set the video up. Sorry, just 1 second. It's not finding my QuickTime window. A second. There we go. Okay.
Okay. Hello, this is our submission. Unfortunately, it's not as much as we wished for, but we were not really 100% focused on this hackathon, to be honest, for different reasons. Mainly, I personally am just really participating to see what it's like and not really to win anything, just for the experience, so to say. Anyway, there's a little bit of code that is somehow related to what we plan to do, and that is a Chainlink adapter. Actually, 2 Chainlink adapters. One to fetch the number of followers of a given Twitter account, and one to make a tweet from a Twitter account that is owned by the Oracle. And that's already built into our project's UI. As you can see here, this is a list of GitHub issues, some funds deposited on it, and we can post this issue to Twitter. And this will be handled by an Oracle on the Coven network now. And the idea was to make the price for posting to Twitter based on the followers of the Twitter account that is being used by the Oracle. So actually in the background, it's 2 Oracle requests, first the followers, and then the followers fulfillment then triggers the actual post job. And there it is. So the Oracle posted to Twitter now, and you can click this button and see the post. Just the deposit size and a link to the issue on GitHub, and that's it. What we actually planned to do was a much more comprehensive notification system based on Chainlink, but that needs certainly needs a bit more time to think about. The other thing that I did rather spontaneously now is to start implementing the graph in our project. So there's a new subgraph for these issue bounties you just saw, and you can check it out here in the Explorer. Yeah, just 2 entities, issues and issue deposits, and a little bit of code. Very simple still. Just one simple handler that loads and adds issues and then adds every new deposit. Nothing too special yet, but we will definitely work on this a lot more, I'm pretty sure, so that we can handle all sorts of nice filters or notifications or stuff like that. We'll see. But for now, that's it. Yeah. Not that much, but I'm curious to see what others submit. Yeah, thanks.
So you said you're trying to see how it was. I guess you mean how it was to build on this stack and the tooling and the community, and how you're feeling now that you have tried.
Sorry, if you're talking, I think it was either very quiet or no, or your mic is on, or mute is on. We can hear you, but I think your input volume is like the smallest possible unit. It's like a little man in a box. Like I have to like yeah. And that's not much better.
I mean, it worked before in the other call.
Wait, hey, MKT, it's a bit better now. Can you start over? Sorry, a little bit better. Just yes.
Okay, it was just perfect in the other call now, so I was a little bit confused now. Perfect now, okay?
It's quiet, but we got you. Go.
Yeah, okay. I'll try to speak loud as I can. So what was the first question now? Sorry.
The question was, you said you got into the hackathon to learn how the thing was. I guess you were meaning the tooling, yeah. the whole stack. And how are you feeling now? Do you feel like you are going to keep building on Ethereum?
Yeah, of course, definitely. I mean, I just personally never participated in a hackathon, so for me, it's just a first-time experience. And as I said in this video, I'm not here to win any prizes or something, just to see how everything works and how the processes are and so on. And yeah, we will definitely continue to work on this project because it started even before this hackathon. Actually, you cut off the video a little bit. I mentioned in the end that what you see there, most of it was not built during this hackathon now. We started actually a few months ago, and we were inspired by the hackathon, just by all the topics and technologies, and yeah, we came up with some ideas that we want to implement in the project and submit during this hackathon. But unfortunately, we were a little bit blocked by both private issues and work-related stuff and companies demanding our time and so on. So it's development-wise not that much that we can present here.
There's something cool I could share with you because I think the idea makes a lot of sense. And not only it makes sense, my project actually needed this because we give batches in the form of non-fungible tokens to people that do things. And many times projects want to give a special token as a prize for people that get pull requests.
That's exactly, sorry if I may interrupt you here, but that's exactly one thing that we plan to do. So to offer an option to issue governance tokens, for example, for projects alongside with their issues and bounties and so on.
And as you for sure know, GitHub doesn't offer a way to contact a contributor directly. If the contributor doesn't have an email address, you can't get in touch with them. And it really sucks, but it also makes sense that they want to preserve privacy. So if there were an open source connector like yours, if it worked, that has product market fit, we would use it.
This is kind of what we have in mind with this notification system that I mentioned, that we want to use Chainlink. Our Chainlink oracles are basically the team that is running this decentralized app. And they also will be responsible for sending all sorts of notifications via email. If there is an email, we fall back to Twitter or just simple GitHub comments mentioning users and so on. So we're trying to tackle that problem also,
if you ever get this built, feel free to reach out and maybe we can do some testing because this is a need that we want to get fulfilled as quickly as possible. It's not just a crazy idea we had. We really want this to exist.
Yeah, I mean, we already have quite good feedback from several sides, and everybody says that that could be really a very much needed project or product or a tool. And we try to focus on the simplicity and cover like 95% of the use cases and just don't think about the 5% niche use cases, and something a little bit in the spirit of Uniswap for GitHub issues and bounties and open source funding and so on. So I just feel a little bit bad because it's really not something we developed now during this hackathon. We just felt inspired by the hackathon to implement a few additional features around lending, for example, like saving accounts and so on. But I have to be as honest as I can. We didn't really deliver anything.
No, good work. It's you're tinkering in the right area. You're thinking about the right things. Keep hustling. Keep building this stuff. Like Patricio said, there is product market fit for these ideas. Thanks a lot. Good work.
Thank you.
All right. One thing I just will emphasize also for anyone listening, and also for you, MKT, is that the hackathon, the prizes, of course, are for what you build at the hackathon. But the environment that the hackathon is meant to create is such that, even if you just want to participate and chat with people and just learn about things and tinker with ideas or chat with interesting people, it's a very welcome, open environment for that. So I wouldn't feel bad about not necessarily having done a huge amount at the hackathon, but it's great just to have you in the community.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make it clear because I heard from other people that sometimes projects just don't give a shit and they submit whatever they have from a year ago or something. I just wanted to make clear that it's not the case here.
Yeah, we do like the due diligence at the end. It's just a long process, but appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. All right. And Shared Stake, I don't know your name because your Zoom name is the project name, but
we're trying to maintain a little bit of anonymity till we get a lawyer and figure out kind of regional things. But hey, let me just start the presentation.
Go ahead.
Hey there, I'm representing Shared Stake. We're the easiest way to stake for ETH2 and earn rewards. SharedStake.org. And we're live on mainnet and sharedstake.eth via ENS. We integrated Chainlink, AAVE, and ENS over the MarketMake hackathon. So the main problem that we noticed was a lot of users were hesitant to stake for Ethereum 2 because maybe they don't have 32 ETH or the technical expertise to do that. The APYs were also fairly low compared to kind of the degen yield farming ecosystem that we have. and a lot of users want to maintain liquidity, and some investors might actually be short ETH. So we built a DeFi compatible liquid ETH staking solution for non-technical users. Users deposit their ETH into our smart contract with the website. They get a VET2 token back, which they can use to either, they can burn it and get their ETH back directly, or they can deposit that into SnowSwap and start earning snow rewards. And that also allows exit liquidity because there's wrapped Ether on SnowSwap as well in the same pool. So we have close to 1 million deposited into the ETH2 contracts by shared stake, 100 plus holders and protocol users right now, and exit liquidity that's native to our smart contract, which I haven't seen anywhere else. Over MarketMake, we built a perpetual renewable Merkle distributor that we plan to use for future airdrops, and an ability to open a long and short ETH position via AAVE using Chainlink's price feeds. So the way we integrate with AAVE, this is a mock of kind of the front end. That's on a dev branch right now. You can kind of long ETH by having ETH and using that to open a CDP, borrow a stable coin against it, buy ETH with that, and then deposit that into our contract to get the APYs there. So we automated that in a smart contract, and then any money that's left over is credit delegated back to the user to do with as they want. And there's also a short ETH strategy that goes from a stable coin, borrows ETH, and then deposits that in the contract. And again, likewise, it credit delegates back to the user. Chainlink was useful for the CDP-based strategies because we needed it at USD price feed, and it provides that. And then we also have the fast gas function used in our smart contract, the main deposit smart contract, and our token geysers to help the front end kind of figure out good gas prices. And we have sharestake.eth registered. So let me jump into a quick demo here. So this is our website. It's a landing page. We mainly built most of that over this month. Well, we launched the contracts back in December with a fairly simple UI. And you can go here, you can stake your ETH into it. We're also live on Growly if anyone wants to test us. And if you actually have yet, you can get that back. This shows how much monies we have in the contract right now. Here's the earn page, and you can go check if your address is eligible for SGT. Mine's already claimed it. And then you can see like stats here as well. And then we have info on our Notion that this will take you to. And we also have Medium, Discord. So come say hi in Discord. So that's the presentation. Please check us out, sharestake.org, sharestake.eth. We're open source on GitHub, and you can email us at sharestake@gmail.com. Thanks, and we could use some help, so please reach out. Bye.
All right, that's the presentation. If anyone's got any questions.
We carved down just to the stuff. Oop.
So just really quickly, one thing, when it comes to 1inch specifically, they are on this Discord, and they were a hackathon project at ETHGlobal. And so if you did need to reach out to them, they're very receptive on Discord.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll reach out to them. Thanks.
Can we carve it down to just what happened for the hackathon? Like just like a TLDR of just your hackathon presentation minus the full, everything?
Deposit that in.
So over the hackathon, we built the landing page. Pretty much over this month, we got all 1,000 ETH of deposits into our contract. We built the perpetual Merkle distributor for airdrops that we're planning to use. And we also built the AAVE smart contract that opens a CDP and allows you to go long or short ETH and then deposit into our contract. But that is currently live on Kovan. We're on Gorley. So we still need to do some testing before we bring it to mainnet.
I mean, a Merkle distributor, like the contract on top of Aave, like any of these things are hackathon projects already. So it's awesome. I think it gets you guys good exposure, but you don't need it. You've already got your 1,000 ETH. but good work and congratulations.
That's 1,000 ETH that's going to the ETH2 deposit contract, right? We're just depositing that, and then we're spinning up validators, and we miscalculated the fees. So we're actually like short money. We're losing money doing this project. It's great.
But hopefully that'll turn around, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
I love the UI. That's like really amazing. I think it's really original, like the way that those like different like functionalities they like slide up and you can access them. That was really, I think, original. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more about like this Merkle tree distributor, how that works, like technically under the hood?
Absolutely, yeah. So right now, the Merkle distributors, you create a Merkle root, and then there's a claim bitmap in the distributor, which keeps track of claims. So all we did was we allowed a way to update that. So now you can go back on chain, see who's claimed their tokens, who hasn't, generate a new Merkle root with your extra new airdrop holders plus unclaimed old airdrop holders. And we allowed a way to upgrade that claim bitmap. And what we do is, instead of having just a single bitmap, we have, instead of having the single mapping, we have a mapping of mappings, and we just increment the version. And this is surprisingly gas efficient. Like instead of 60,000, it costs like 70,000.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So this is like a regular Merkle tree or a Patricio tree? Like, because it needs to really upgrade.
Yeah, well, so we didn't do anything because like we overwrite the Merkle root of the tree, right? So we use the regular TS node Merkle tree generator that Uniswap uses. So I believe it's just a regular one.
Makes sense. Thanks a lot.
A quick question regarding the pool, because I'm somewhat concerned. You have taken over 1,000 Ether from people, and you're handling all validating duties, and the contracts where you keep balances and all depositors information and such, are they open source and have they been audited?
No, so we're looking for an audit right now and trying to like put together the money for an audit. So they haven't been audited, but they're open source and they're verified on Etherscan as well. But this is still a very valid concern. And moving down, what we're doing is a multi-bond system. So you can bond our token, have a certain percentage of share in the pool and bond keeper, and then deploy your own validator. And also when Ethereum 2's kind of like shared validator credentials and withdrawing to a contract, those things are more available. We plan to integrate that and upgrade.
Thanks.
So you got people to put 1,000 ETH into an unaudited contract?
Yep. We didn't do anything. We just launched it and people put money in, and now we're gonna go like figure out the audit, right? That's what I was saying with kind of right now our fees, we charge 0.3% per validator. So, you know, that's not really enough to get audits or anything.
Yeah, let's get that figured out. Make sure, like, reach out to some of us if you're not able to find somebody. There's lots of auditors in the space. There's lots of people that'll just give you a spot check. With that much ETH, that's scary. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks. I also did just, message me also. I'm happy to connect you to any auditors.
Mobile, and this is our hack for MarketMake 2021. So let's get started. Team, I'm Abhyak Jain. I'm the iOS and Android engineer for this project. And with me, I have Eric, who is the backend engineer. So talking about the opportunity, Coinbase mobile app has 15 million downloads. Look at Binance, 10 million downloads. That shows there's a significant demand for mobile app. But when we look at Aave solution, it is website-based, but it has a staggering TVL of 4.5 billion. Assuming a 2x penetration, a native mobile app for Aave actually represent an opportunity for another 4.5 billion. And that is why we have built a native iOS and Android app for Aave, and it works on mainnet. It is not a dev browser, it's a native app. So it supports all on-chain transactions. We are talking about deposit, withdraw, borrow, repay, switching of interest type, and collateral setting. We have also integrated with 1inch to support the swap services in case if the user doesn't have the token which is supported by Aave. We also provide transferring and creating and importing of wallet. So the app itself is a complete solution. It doesn't require any support from the website. Now, it is built with an infinitely scalable architecture. We have built Aave REST API from scratch. each API endpoint talk to a microservices, which is also serverless, and that microservice talks to the Aave smart contract. And that is because everything is serverless, it is an infinitely scalable, so it can be scaled up to the global level. It's demo time. Today, we'll do 2 demos for you. The first demo, we'll do an actual transaction on mainnet. Sorry, we couldn't do many transactions on mainnet because the gas prices are really high nowadays. In the second demo, we'll demonstrate what all are the possible things with them, what all things that you can do with the mobile app. So let's go with the first one. We will open the mobile app, and you can see all the assets which are supported by Aave. We can see all the analytics of each asset, what is the available liquidity, what is the total borrowed amount, what is the deposit rate, variable rate, stable rate, and everything is fetched directly from the Aave smart contract through our APIs. Now let's try to deposit 1 ETH. Every on-chain transaction is a 2-step process. The first is review, the second is confirm. We can see there we are depositing 1 ETH, the user confirms it, and the transaction will be broadcasted immediately on mainnet. Here you can see the transaction broadcasted. Let's go and check on each scan, and you can see it's still pending, and it will be okay, success. Let's go to the second demo, and we'll show what all are the possibilities with the mobile app. Again, you can see the asset has 1 deposit of KNC, and he has 2 loads, 1 of ETH, 1 is WBTC. He has a health factor of 2.2. We have already seen the deposit. So let's go to withdraw. Since he has already KNC, he can only withdraw KNC, and we only let him to withdraw certain KNC so that his health factor is above 1.06. Again, it's a 2-step process, review and confirm. Let's go to borrowed. He can borrow all the assets which are possible on Aave. Again, maximum amount he can borrow is up to is whatever can take his health factor to 1.06. 2-step process. Let's go to repay. He has only ETH in his wallet, so he can only pay ETH. He doesn't have WBTC to repay his WBTC loan. Again, it's a 2-step process. Moving to the next one, switching of interest type from stable to variable, variable to stable, both are supported. And the last one, which is the collateral setting. So you can also change your price. We are actually looking forward to work with Aave team to improve the penetration of Aave protocol by releasing the official app on Play Store and App Store. Both iOS and Android app are production ready. We are actually would be very happy if we can release the official REST API for public, and that would really help to grow the Aave ecosystem by letting other developers to build on REST APIs. And that's all from our side. Thank you very much.
I kind of like it. How far are you from having this on the Play Store?
1 day.
Why is it on the Play Store then?
Friends,
So we finished it yesterday. Just before submitting.
Okay.
But we have tested all the transactions. We actually end up spending almost $700 to $800 to actually test all the transactions. Everything works on mainnet. We cannot release it on App Store for Apple because Apple requires any blockchain or any Ethereum-based app to be released by a company, not by an individual developer. And that is why we need Aave helps. And because this is an Aave app, it has to be released by the entity named Aave.
I can't wait to use it.
Yeah, you're in the right place to get in front of Stanny. I'm sure Stanny's going to see this and like it. So I think he's your next stop, right? You guys need to just get this in front of Stanny, see what he thinks. I'm sure he'll cover your gas fees, but hopefully a lot more than that.
Yeah. We are actually looking forward to actually present it to our team. Any question that you have, feel free to answer it.
Are you planning to create similar mobile UIs for other big projects?
Yeah. So we have already created one for 1inch, and that app is already available on Play Store. Again, we couldn't do it on App Store, but it's available on TestFlight. So if you want, we can give you the link. And even for this one, we have the APK. If you have an Android phone, you can flash it on your phone right now. Yeah, but we were planning that once this hackathon is live, we would probably take the Aave code and make it a super app, which has 1inch Aave. And I think the next one we are trying is B protocol.
And is this all open source? That's another thing. Like, are you providing these libraries back to other builders? Can people fork this thing and make something else?
Yes, that's what we plan to do it, but probably after the hackathon, because we just want to do some code cleaning process so that it is easily understood by others.
But like if, for instance, someone wants to create an app that does Aave credit delegation, you have the best starting point in the whole ecosystem at this point. So let's get that thing out there and let's get it open source.
We want to make our APIs public. Just want to check with our team if they are okay with that.
Are there any like usability issues or like things that you think are much more difficult to like handle on mobile, like that would be much more easy to like show on a desktop, just maybe because of these constraints?
Yes. So so if you already have a position with Aave, let's say you have ETH and you have some DAI you have borrowed, and you want to borrow more DAI, so that calculation that goes in the backend, right, to make sure that your health factor doesn't go below 1. So we are doing this calculation, but explaining this to the user on the phone is a little bit tricky.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, that's really hard to like show like information in a very straightforward manner, like given like the limited space on mobile. But I think you did a great job. So that's
thank you.
Amazing.
And I'm assuming you guys will get to Stanny and there's no problem, but if the final boss provides any problems, you guys hit us up and we'll ping him too.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really cool. Sweet. Moving along, we have not Arbitrium, but Arbitrium. So yeah, feel free to take it away, Andre.
Thanks. Let me share the video.
It is only recently that cryptocurrency options have really kicked off. In the last year or so, total Bitcoin options open interest has gone from about $200 million to over $5 billion. The primary venue for trading options is a centralized venue called Deribit. Deribit allows you to trade both Bitcoin and Ethereum options across many different strikes and many different expiries. If we head over to the Deribit UI, we can see all the different strikes and all the different prices, and there are many of these. As we can see, there are hundreds and hundreds of combinations. However, recently there have also been some decentralized options protocols that have popped up, which also offer the same service. It's very hard to compare prices between each of these services because you have to use many different UIs. We wanted to create an options aggregator which consolidates different strikes across different expiries and different venues in a single UI. So we created an app called Arbitrium. We only managed to finish the UI. We didn't manage to hook in prices, but you can see this is the concept. So at the top here, you can pick the asset you're interested in. In this case, we're looking at Bitcoin USD options. And on the right of here, you have radio buttons which allow you to select the venues that you're interested in seeing prices for. Beneath that, you have an expiry selector. So by picking a date here, this would change the option down here that you see strikes for. On the left, you can see the expiry price or the current price for each venue. The top price here is for Deribit, Hedgic, OKX, and finally Open. So there are different prices here because each venue has its own price tracker. So you can view those in a consolidated view as well. We created 3 themes for this. We created a dark theme, which is this one, also a gray theme, and finally a light theme. The app is also compatible on mobile. So we can see here on mobile, we have a little bit less information. We just show the calls in this instance, but you can toggle that by using the toggle here, which allows you to switch between calls and puts. And you can also toggle your exchanges that you're interested in and change your asset and also change the expiry. Soon we'll be hooking in prices. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to finish it before the end of the hack, but you can expect that to be done soon. Cheers.
So yeah, that was our video. So we'll be
Yeah,
open for questions.
I think when a builder asks me, what do you think I could build that the market wants on DeFi? I keep telling them, build an options aggregator. So you are on the right track. It needs to get much better for it to be useful, but you seem to understand what's needed. Because so far I don't know a single place where I can see the same financial product on a single view and on real time. So I like it. I wish you keep building it. If you find any hurdle, whether it's lack of funding or connections or mentoring, reach out to us, because this is something the ecosystem really wants and needs.
Awesome, thanks. We'll keep building it.
And it looks so clear and like straightforward and simple. Like that's like the main achievement, I think. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it's a complex thing, but it looks so simple.
Right. Yeah, that was one of our main goals, to make it easy for people who are not used to financial applications in general, and they just got into DeFi, for example. And we wanted to make it as simple as possible for these new users to get into DeFi and options specifically.
Yeah, did a great job.
Thanks. Yeah, there's still some work to do, but yeah, we'll finish it and deliver for sure.
Patricio is counting on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want ideas or something, be aware that there's like 15 decentralized financial derivative products out there. Some of them extremely well funded. I mean, there are teams with tens of millions of dollars building products on the options field, and they will need an interface for their users to find enough to get noticed. So make sure you are in contact with all those teams so they can be integrated like out of the gate.
You think like a part of the app could be for just a single product, like for example, just a page for open and then another just for OKEX? Because you've said some teams don't have like a UI still.
Well, I guess, and this has been proven over the years on the Ethereum space, sometimes, and it's more often than not, a highly polished graphic interface can trump the actual native interface of a protocol, because all those protocols that I mentioned, those 15 that are out there, like Potion, POTS, Open, etc., what they are focused on is the underlying tech, the smart contracts, the Solidity code, and many times they don't have top talent, front-end staff, or even if they want, they can't really have their cake and eat them. Like if you are doing a highly complex financial protocol, you probably can't focus on the front end. So there's ample space for a front end that you can plug in, because they are all open source.
True. Find that similar UI. I did the same thing where I was trying to build a wallet on multiple L2s, right? You find the similar UI and you match one UI to everything and you kind of apply it to them. And like Patricio said, you can do it better than they can because they've got heady tech they've got to wrestle with.
Yeah, they let them focus on the protocol itself and try to offer a great UI. Awesome.
Keep building. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys, for the great advice. We'll keep building.
Keep in touch. Feel free to reach out.
For sure. Thanks.
Yeah, build in public. Keep building in public.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Thanks, guys. Cool. Bye-bye.
All right. Quick thing for the judges. If you guys did want to take a 2-minute break or anything, or if any one of you want to, just mention now and we can do that break.
I could go for a tinkle break. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Let's take a 2-minute break. And thanks for the patience. We'll be back at 11:15 or so. By the way, Patricio, your video and mic are still on, just FYI. Hey, Patricio, you have a fan. Someone's asking about your ETH badge. I have one also, but maybe you want to explain where you got it. Or actually, is that a POAP? It's a POAP, isn't it?
And it's metal. Who's asking?
Stanimir Stoikev. Stan.
Is he presenting now?
No, he's just in the chat.
Can I ask what I'm? Well, it's a piece of pride. It's for everyone to know that I'm an Ethereum person.
I don't have a metal one, unfortunately, but I do have several of the patch ones from our different hackathons.
Keep them close to your heart.
I do. I actually have a shrine in my bedroom back home. I'm not home right now. I'm in a different place. But I literally have a shrine.
Look at Austin's. Have you seen Austin's video?
Oh wow! Look at that. Cool.
Yeah. So I'm leasing a new place, so I don't have my own shrine.
Yeah. Okay, everyone's back, so maybe we should keep the show rolling. Stan says he thought that you own 1,000 ETH or something like that. Oh, it's like you get that. Yeah, after you have a certain number of ETH in your EOA, Vitalik sends you a
you go to the Ethereum Foundation office in Zug and they check your wallet and you get one. Exactly. I mean, we could do that because there can be more than 7,000 people, or is it 70,000 actually? Yeah, no, it would be too many tokens.
Okay, we should keep things rolling. I believe the next one up is Mohammed, who actually had been He put his hand up right at the start. So he's been here for a while. Thank you, Mohammed. AAVE-Leverage, if I'm right. You there, Mohammed?
So hi,
Cool, yeah, take it away.
this is AAVE Power Up. Wait a second, let me share a screen. So yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, you changed your name. For us, it's AAVE-Leverage.
Yeah, I know. I used the name Power Up in the presentation.
That's fine.
Power Up is our DeFi project for MarketMake hackathon. By utilizing the Flash loan and Vanish protocol, users will be able to leverage their loan or go long or short of an asset. And to avoid price and data manipulation, we use Chainlink Oracle and the graph to fetch the data. Basic schematic is this platform works for both existing and new loans by utilizing the credit delegation. And for example, user can take a 1 Ethereum collateral and then take a flash loan of 2 Ethereum and deposit 3 Ethereum. And then the contract would borrow the user loan using the credit delegation. And then using the 1inch API, it swaps the token collateral to debt. And then repay the flash loan using that token, evaluate the price, the premium that take from the user. Wait, let's see it in action. We use the collateral token to DAI, and for the debt token, we use USDC. And we set the leverage to 4x and the slippage to 5%. And the collateral amount would be 100. As you can see, the transactions are confirmed, but since the contracts are not deployed on the mainnet, I can't demonstrate the deposits and debts. I use the graph API for that, and the graph only works for the mainnet, as you know. So that's it.
Could you explain what happens under the hood, please?
Basically, once the user put the collateral as a 1 Ethereum, the flash loan use 1 Ethereum as a collateral. And then it deposits 3 Ethereum to the AAVE lending pool. And then using the lending pool, it use the direct credit delegation to borrow from the user on using the on behalf of. And then it takes the borrow to and swap it to the debt token. For example, debt token could be anything like USDC or anything. And then it's used that taken swap and the premium that token from the user to repay the flash loan. The premium will be paid before the contract call.
What was the hardest part for you guys building this thing? What would you say, you'd like to improve for the next guy who has to go through this same build?
The hardest part was the lending pool interaction, since it has some complex architecture and many things are not documented yet. So I have to dig in the codes in the GitHub to find out many APIs.
You also mentioned there is a debt token and a collateral token. So is this like fully generalizable to any pair of two tokens, at least in theory? And cool. So then how does this like affect the leverage ratio? Because some tokens are just much more volatile than others.
I fetch the loan to value ratio from the graph and set the maximum amount using that. If you try to put some amount higher than LTV, it would ask you to lower it, but I didn't demonstrate that.
I see, so that makes sense. And so what's the maximum leverage now? In your example, it was 4x or like...
Yeah, it was 4x.
I love the using the flash loan to unroll the position. It's such a clever, cool use of a flash loan. Nice. I don't know, was that part of the documentation? Was that something you guys thought up? Like what spurred the idea of using the flash loan to repay or to get out of the position?
Well, actually, I took the idea from 1inch as they told me this idea is pretty good to use, and I chosen it.
Awesome.
Are you planning to add like more features to this in the future?
Yes, of course. I got a lot of things in my mind, and I listed them for the roadmap, and I plan them in the future. But unfortunately, I can't, for the time of the hackathon, I couldn't handle it.
But there's, you can do it in the future, probably.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Just to lean into that a little bit more, what do you think are the biggest concerns of yours in terms of adding onto this and building something and getting it into people's hands? What can we as an ecosystem do better for you?
For the deployment of the contracts, I didn't have any fund in my mind since I couldn't handle the gas fees these days. We had to pay 300 gas for deployment, and for that reason, I didn't deploy it on mainnets. But after this hackathon, I will do it. And for the help, I may need some team for that, and I am solo in this one. I couldn't find any team.
So one thing right off the bat would be mainnet forking. It looks like time's up and we need to jump. Reach out to me. I'm at Austin Griffith on Twitter. We have a branch of Scaffold ETH that does mainnet forking and basically everything that's listed here in this thing. You can kind of take that, fork that, and build on top.
I use mainnet forking, but unfortunately the graph didn't work for that.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks.
Good work.
Thanks, Mohammed. Alrighty. Next up, don't think they're in the chat just yet, but there's Twister and Jason. Is that you?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Take it away, man.
Cool. So this is Twister. It's a fork of Tornado Cash on the optimistic rollup. We didn't get to complete the whole project because of the technical complexity, but this is kind of just the scope of what we have so far.
Oh, wait, sorry. Are you trying to share your screen right now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have to. Yeah, forgot that part.
Hello, this is Twister. This is a fork of Tornado Cash intended to run on Optimism. Here we have the core contracts of Tornado Cash, as well as the Open Zeppelin contracts required to make Tornado Cash run. So this is using the ETHOptimism plugin for Hardhat to compile contracts. This doesn't work fully yet, as you can see below. When you run npx hardhat compile, we get one error, which kept us from finishing this, as you'll see in a second, which is the MIMC hash function. We have the bytecode outputted from building Tornado Cash itself, but we weren't sure how to link it with the compiler in Hardhat.
And then just to kind of show you guys what happened with the actual issue. So in circomlib, which is like, you know, a very popular library for ZK Snark circuits. They have this MIMC gen contract. So MIMC is a hash function which is used in ZK Snarks, which is very friendly. It's like efficient since it has low multiplicative complexity. And then the circuits themselves have some details with this because in a ZK Snark, you want to not multiply too many times. You have to do this thing where you basically store, you create a value for, you create like a storage slot for each time you have a value that's multiplied. And so if you have a bunch of these, right, you're going to just waste a bunch of memory and make your hash inefficient. MIMC is just basically a hash that's more efficient in terms of this sense. So the actual circumlud script that Tornado Cash uses compiles the contract from scratch. So this is actually pretty hardcore, but you literally push on all the bytecodes individually. And we just didn't have the time to reference the OVM spec and then basically translate each of these opcodes by hand to get this compiling on an optimistic rollup.
So as you probably know, yesterday, the original Tornado has launched their token. So it's only reasonable to expect that they will capture value, whether it's in the form of fees or whatever. So it makes sense that someone is already up to a speed on forking Tornado, whether it's on a second layer or on mainnet. So good thing you exist, and hopefully when they start charging fees, you can fork it and make it a real public good.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the really cool things about Tornado is that it's not just the contracts themselves. Like the mining is they actually use a separate state root for mining verification. Because they basically check how long you've left your node in the deposit set. And so they're really, really good. And I don't know if you guys have checked out the governance forms, but the founders themselves are very, very technically, they really know what they're doing.
I mean, yeah, it's very clever and I love them, but still it makes sense that if someone doesn't care about the entropy or whatever and wants to have their own deployment, but doesn't have the resources, I would totally support a fork like yours being productive.
Yeah. I totally see where you're coming from. I think in this ethos of what we're building, right, it makes sense for us to actually be fully anonymous. Because if you expose the anonymity set, you're making people waste a bunch of gas to print your governance token. But it is what it is.
So first thing, this is dope. This is an awesome idea. Tornado on OVM just gets me excited. That's all you have to say. I'm already in. Have you jumped into the OVM Discord? I just talked to Ben Jones about this and kind of talking about some of the problems you guys are having. And he said, get at us in the Discord. So if you guys go in the OVM Discord, if you haven't yet, especially this kind of stuff, this has Kelvin written all over it. This translation, make sure you're connected with those guys. Oh, sorry.
Kelvin's been helping us a bunch actually. So
yes,
it's one of those things where this is like to the point where it's actually hard to write out this problem over text. Like we'd actually probably have to jump on like some sort of a Zoom call and everything. And so, like I work on some other stuff full time as well as school. So it's really just a time commitment issue for us, but totally could see this going like further. Even the Tornado Cash team themselves, I'm sure they'd be interested in this. And at the end of the day, like we respect like what both Optimism is building and also what the Tornado Cash team themselves are building.
How much time do you think would it take for you to build this out fully, like to bring this to fruition?
Well, this is the only contract that I know of that's generated like this because in Optimism, they have a compiler that just compiles the solidity code into OVM. And so this is the only contract that doesn't have a raw solidity code for it. So once this translation's done, theoretically, it should be able to run on Optimism. Although actually getting it deployed is a different story because Optimism doesn't have their testnet up yet. So it's only just a local testnet so far, right? So like there's no Coven or whatever like endpoint. So like that would also probably take a while from just like the deployment perspective. So I mean, anywhere from like you know, like finishing this to like, you know, yeah, there's always issues.
But you should definitely keep up your work. I mean, now that you've like come so far, that's.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, I like originally we so you know we're the team from UCLA doing this, and like originally, I was interested in this idea because you know it's a good fit, you know, because the way Optimism, you know, the L2 roll works is that they do transactions off chain by Merkle root updates, right? And then they just push it to L1, and then they have a fraud period of like a week, I think. And then so if anyone has a dispute with the way the Merkle root has changed, you know, they can basically dispute it. And so that's actually really nice because in Tornado Cash, what happens is that you put in your deposit, and then your withdrawal is mixed with everyone else in the depositor set. So the longer you leave it in there, and the more people that deposit after you, the more plausible deniability you have in whose funds it actually is. So it's really good because both of them incentivize you to like, or I guess the trade-off on the consensus part of Optimism plays well into the incentive for added security in Tornado.
Hey Jason, this is super cool. But unfortunately, just with the timing, we have to move forward. Sure. But yeah, I also personally am like super interested in this. I'd love to see Optimism have Tornado Cash running on it, basically. Yeah, keep it up.
Cool.
Don't stop. Keep building. Hit us up. If you hit a wall with those guys, bug us. We'll bug them too.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
See you.
All right. Ciao. Sweet. The next one is Stan, the man who was talking about the pin earlier. So welcome, Stan, to the show. Yeah, stage is yours.
I think that you guys were gonna play the video though, because when I tried it on the
previous
call.
Right. Yeah, there's a few of these that I have the note for. I forgot which one. Sorry. Fantasy X. Yep. Let me just quickly open it up. Just 1 second. Sorry. Share screen. VLC.
We're team Fantasy X. My name is Ale, and together with my friend Stan, I would like to show you what we built for this hackathon. Now, our idea was to provide a platform which allows you to implement a blockchain version of your favorite fantasy sport. So it could be fantasy football, it could be fantasy basketball, it could be fantasy esport. That's actually what we focused on for this hackathon. In particular, we used the popular multiplayer online battle arena game, Dota 2. So let me showcase the front end of our application that interacts with our smart contract. So as a participant, I will want to build my fantasy team of professional players represented by these cards, which in turn are represented by NFTs. Once I build my team, I will want then to compete against opposing teams. So notice how there are different properties associated to each professional player. Now these are properties like average number of kills, average number of assists, average number of deaths. So there are proxies for their performance. And these properties are dynamic, and the monetary value associated to each player will fluctuate depending on their real-world performance. Let me show you how I can buy one of these. So my MetaMask pops up, and there we go. So the novel idea here is that we use an Oracle data feed to update the values of these properties in a transparent and tamper-proof way. And for this purpose, we built a custom Chainlink external adapter that connects to the OpenData API to get stats for each player that will be associated to their corresponding NFT. And that's it. Thanks for listening. Yeah, sorry, we couldn't show that much because we're both newbies, me and my friend. This is literally our first blockchain project, believe it or not.
Say that for being a newbie, it's not that bad.
Tell us more about how.
Thank you. About the competition, I really loved it. I really like the fact that you guys organize so many things for us and that you're so helpful. I tried to reach out for help, but I guess my issue was my own issue, and I managed to fix it by myself. But at the end of the day, I'm really happy with the community. The only thing I'm not happy about is Austin is not having the bow tie.
Where's the bow tie? What is this?
Exactly.
It's a Tuesday. It's always so exciting to see new projects, like to see new people making new projects, to be hooking up MetaMask, to be hitting that button that first time. I love it. And I just want to see you continue to build in a space. And if you have any roadblocks or you run into anything, reach out to me and let me help.
Will do, definitely. Thank you.
So actually, I meant by competition, just to get back on that, I meant like the competition between the players, but I'm glad to hear that you also like the competition itself.
I love the projects. I really like ideas that are different than mine, and everybody else's ideas different than everybody else's, and I really love that. Somebody has an ATM idea, and I was shocked. My mind was blown.
So something really fun that ETHGlobal does is that when the hackathon finishes, they put together all the submissions on a very digestible format. And if you enjoy this, I would totally encourage you to review those submissions of Hack Money, ETH Online, and HackFS. They all have searchable functions. You can see who the founders are, GitHub profiles. I'm not an actual software developer, and I still enjoyed browsing over README files and reading their experience. And the format, there you have it on the chat, the different showcases. Particularly, I suggest you checking the one of, the only one that's missing, the Hack Money online, because it's really a fun activity. It's something I save for my weekends to see when I want to do something fun for myself, and I'm sure you will love it.
Thank you.
Can you dig just for a second? Tell us a little bit more about that thing you had. It happens to me all the time where it's just like, this freaking tool is not doing what I want it to. But really, I didn't have the context of what it was supposed to be, and I didn't understand what the difference was between a provider and a signer or something like that. Can you give us a little insight into kind of like what you banged your head up against?
Sure. What didn't I? What didn't we actually? It's a team. First of all, we set up using Truffle, and when we set up the contracts and we tried to pull from OpenZeppelin to extend to create the ERC 721, the compiler failed because I didn't know how to set it up accordingly. I banged my head against that for a really, really long time before I scrapped everything and did it again and did it again. One of those things. Another thing that I really had a hard time with is putting prices into MetaMask. I didn't know how to pass the extra parameter because I didn't find any documentation anywhere. I might suck at finding it. Probably that's the case. But
have you seen that other toolkit called Hardhat?
No, I only know MetaMask. I'm brand new.
No, I mean, regarding it's like a Truffle replacement, and it seems that developers getting their feet wet like it slightly more than Truffle. So maybe it makes sense for you to check it out. It's Hardhat.
Hardhat. Okay.
Yeah.
.org, I think. Hardhat.org. You'll see some nice little characters. And I'll even extend that shill to say, check out Scaffold ETH. It's basically like a dApp in a repo that you can fork, and it includes ethers, it includes Hardhat. It has things like buttons that add those extra parameters that call things to MetaMask, just as an example. So it has a lot of copy paste examples for you, and a lot of stuff is standing up. Yes, and I recommend Brownie as well. I think we would.
But that's my friend. He does the Python. I don't do Python, so that's him.
Yeah, I think that's for Python folks. Yeah. don't be afraid to reach out at Austin Griffith on Twitter. Hit me in the DMs.
Will do. Thank you. Okay. I guess we're done.
I think we are. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hello. I represent the chronchain team for the MarketMake hackathon. I'm Isodong Jafalo, founder and developer. Due to a lack of transparency in property ownership, the growth of paper consumption, a costly risk we have when we invest in a property, and a profit taking time to come, we built a progressive web app where anyone can transparently purchase and trade affordable token of property and make some daily return and get under collateralized loan. How it works. So as an owner, I have to prove my ownership and have a digital proof of existence back. And as a customer, I can check the digital proof of existence of an asset and purchase that asset as NFT. Our future work will be to add more tokenized valuable assets like Uber taxi or debt, and also introduce a tokenization tool for business, and later a governance protocol for our users, and of course, go in mainnet. So let's see how it works. Okay, that's all for the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm waiting for some questions.
Thanks a lot. So I'm curious to know if you have looked a bit into like the legal recognition of the property that you're trying to like tokenize. Like how does that work? Maybe in your jurisdiction, or is that something you are researching?
Yes. Currently, I've researched that here in France. So I'm in France, but the company is in the US. So currently in France, we have something we call that SCPI. So is a property that can be represented by a company. So currently those tokens will be like a part of a company, and yes, so I think legally we have no problem with that.
I see. So there is like a company that owns like the property, and you basically tokenize a share of that company.
Exactly, but in the future we won't need to own the property, but any real estate agent can
tokenize their own property, and our user will just come and purchase those tokens.
Great, thanks a lot. That makes sense. And I hope that like the jurisdictions will follow like other countries, because this is like really like the interesting part where like real world assets become usable.
Yes.
Where was that deployed? I saw the site, and then I saw a little ether scan. Is that testnet? Is it live that something we can play with? What's out there?
Yes, it's on testnet. It's on Kovan, but we try to put it with Matic. We try to do it with Matic but we have some issues, so we decided to continue with Kovan. So also, if you are an owner of an property NFT, you can use the delegate collateral to apply for a loan and on AAVE platform.
It makes sense to investigate the Matic deployment because with the current gas prices,
yes,
everything mainnet is so expensive and Matic is so much cheaper.
Yes. Yes, I understand it, because I tried to pull some liquidity last time, and I pay a lot of fees on the gas. So yeah, definitely I will put Matic on the platform.
How are the property prices determined? Are they like pulled in using some Oracle or?
No, they are not determined. We just put we know the price of the property. Currently, we know the price of the property, and you just go and grab how much you want of the property. So it's not fixed like you can pay $25. You will pay as much as you have in your bag.
Mm-hmm. So, but there is like initial price of the property that like.
Yes, $25 is the initial price.
I see. That should be cheap enough for
yes.
most people.
Any other questions?
Anything you got hung up with on tooling? Like anything that other than Matic stuff, we've kind of dug in, but anything else that if you could smooth this process out for the next guy, anything in particular that you got hung up on that you would like to see improved within the ecosystem?
Currently, I don't know. We are looking for an acceleration program, maybe that can help us really accelerate the project. So I think is the only thing I'm currently looking for from the community.
You might be interested in looking at in Paris, École 42. It's École 42. They have like a program around some blockchain stuff, and we did a hackathon there 2 years ago.
Okay.
So there's a lot of there's some funding programs there. There's some good developers there. It might be just an interesting ecosystem to tap into in France.
Yes. I know École 42. I used to work with some developer from
Yeah, I think we're out of time, but I think that you're in the right place also. Like Ethereum hackathons are a great place to accelerate your Ethereum hack idea. Keep building, keep showing up for these, keep the momentum going. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Okay. Next up is LiquiDeFi, Z Morris, and I am once again going to procure the video. So let me pull that up. And just to confirm, you're there, right, Z?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, the video is coming up.
Presenting LiquiDeFi. Implementing decentralized finance through protocols such as AAVE and Uniswap. This is a work in progress. Let me demonstrate a portion. I'm going to start from scratch. Okay, so basically this is an escrow where you have an arbiter and a beneficiary. Typical contract between the two parties, where the beneficiary will receive the funds after perhaps whatever they agree to in the contract. In this case, I call the arbiter the escrow manager, and the escrow receiver is the beneficiary. In this case, I'm going to act as both and use my account. So what you do in this case is you enter those parties. I'll use my address for both. Now we can choose an amount. Let's see. That might be a little bit too high because of the fees, but you can choose any amount. At this point, I will then choose approve and deploy. And I'll have to submit my transaction fee. And to approve the DAI.
Is it you on your voice?
2 in the morning.
Yeah, I heard you saying.
Now, wow, it's still quite high. So I do not have enough Ether for this transaction. I believe that is why it won't let me continue. Let me double check. But basically, this is the premise, and wow, it's very high. It's correct there. Yep, so I have to reject this, unfortunately, and I really wanted to show you, because once you do approve it, your contracts will be listed here where it says existing contracts. So I will continue to build upon this, and I hope you have a little bit of an understanding, and we'll be able to implement this a lot further in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I think an escrow contract, it's a very basic primitive that we still haven't solved. So it makes sense to build this thing. My advice would be to plan on deploying it on Matic, just because it's much easier for experiments. And then improve the usability, like adding ENS support. Are you familiar with ENS?
Yes.
So ENS is quite fundamental for these things. And then it needs to have the ability to escrow other things than DAI, like at least Ether or USDC, which is what usually people want to escrow.
Right, I was using the Kovan protocol, Kovan testnet, so that's where I could get the DAI. Unfortunately, not enough Ether. Really, basically this is a scrap up from my original project, which is I wanted to follow the documentation for Aave and do a loan. And after you do the loan, what can you do with it before it's paid? So I wanted to, do some swaps, do some arbitrage. So originally I built that loan and that worked. But then when I started to do the front end, I had some problems. And basically, I'm really noticing that, like, one, when you go into the front end, you want to bring your projects to the front end, your contracts. If you have more than one, what if you want to bring in all of the providers and then the tokens? So I crashed on that a few times. So I deleted my GitHub repositories a few times, started over.
I mean, nobody becomes proficient in Ethereum development overnight.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
a
this
lot
is
of
really
work.
hard stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just seeing you hit a button and it triggers a MetaMask. I said this earlier, like that is the first step. That is the key, like visceral experience, and that's the thing you're coding up. I check out the tooling, keep working. Like my advice, I mean, hit me up if you need some Kovan. I am a Kovan whale and I can set you up. but yeah, just keep building.
Exactly, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, because I was really excited when I first started this project, and I was going smoothly. But then when I jumped to the front end, I had some problems there. So then and that's another thing. I really should stick with one thing and stay on that. Then when I started building this escrow, I was saying, I saw some other documentation where you could have multiple people. So it's not just one person joining in. So you can have a bunch of people sign in on this contract. And then during that, maybe one of them could take a loan out, and then as long as they pay it back, or they will be withdrawn from the contract. And then when it's paid back, everybody gets their money back. And then if there's interest, then you can decide what to do with that as well. So yeah, it's really exciting. There's a lot you can do. Got to keep on working.
Keep building.
Yeah. What's the next step you want to implement or realize?
What was that?
Like, what's the next step, or like the missing piece that you would like to see, or that you would like to add next?
Well, I'm really interested in upgradable contracts. So what happens when you make some changes? I mean, but really, I really have to finish and get the basics down. So I'm working on it.
Sure, but I'm sure you will get the basics done soon, so that you can move over to those more exciting stuff like the upgradability pattern. So
yes, and also the graph and just seeing what's going on. I'm interested in tooling too, so you just see what's going on. Comparison. Hey, before I make the swap, what is it on Uniswap? What is it on these other protocols? Or split amongst all of them. See who's fastest, who gives the best rate. Yeah.
Looking forward to see you on a future ETHGlobal hackathon.
Yes, I'm going to be having a better project soon.
Well, thanks so much, man. Thank you for presenting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Two more projects. And the next up is Rahul, whose project name is Rahul. So it's
I like it.
I love it.
The floor is yours, Rahul.
Hi everyone. So I will be talking about Finance. I have been working on this project for quite a while now, and this is the same submission which I made to its online global hackathon. So the page that you are looking at is for the NFT booster sale. So these NFTs, these act as discount coupons for Finance. So you can basically select. This is the related artwork to the currently selected booster, and this is hosted on Filecoin, where the CID for the artwork is encoded within the smart contract. So you can simply just buy it here. So these NFTs, they also act as discount coupons for Finance. So with Finance, these use Awe's veto contracts, and I have made certain modifications to it to get the desired behavior. So the website is currently live here. So here you can basically it works on Coven, so you can just select the instrument that you want and enter the amount. You can either mint, approve, deposit, redeem, borrow, repay. Uh, Here you'll get your current portfolio, the numbers, and this is a like farming. So here you can see the volatility. So for example, Bitcoin, the previous price was 38.8, and let's say the current price is 33,000. So this is the volatility for the total deposited liquidity, and this is the maximum harvest that the users can get, and this is the amount that is actually harvested, and this is the APY. So these are currently simulated numbers. The documentation is currently live, so you can just read and go through what I have been working upon. So the long term, my thinking is that we are currently in the second stage of asset tokenization, and I believe we will see upcoming digital curation markets. So this is what I am trying to research into. And if you look at the NFT here, this basically talks about the infrastructure which I want to basically develop under Finance. So under network intelligence, it's bonding curves, econometric design, state channels. For the on-chain infrastructure, these are the NFTs, which will be going live pretty soon. Then there's the lending protocol, then the Sci Harvest, and then the digital curation market, which I intend to develop, and it will be supported by the off-chain infrastructure. Yeah, and the long-term thing is that I want to research into econometrics and financial designs which can basically finance space innovation. So let's say I want to do some experiment in space, then I am basically looking into econometric models. So through an tokenized model, I should be able to fund that like space initiative. So that's the overall idea, and open to questions. Thank you.
Have you built everything yourself?
Yes.
It's like a lot of work.
Even just the UI, you've spent a lot of time like crafting the experience, and it feels like GeoCity meets DeFi. Yeah, I love I love the just the vibe of this thing is really cool.
Yeah, I have been working on this for like past 5-6 months now. And I started off basically kind of researching into what's happening here, because initially I was working as a foreign investment bank, and there I was looking into security tokens market, but that's not innovative. Like that's just like too much regulated and you can't do anything there. So I got into this Ethereum development space, and since that I have been developing this and just trying to create something new, something innovative. But I think now it's almost there, so will be fun to see how it like basically shapes from here.
And it seems that you've also built like a complete, like exhaustive documentation of all that. And it's also very important because they're just like undocumented, and you just have to find out like how they work. Now you've done all
Right. The thing is like when I was building and when I shared it, like for example in the video itself, I haven't really described how the volatility works, because the harvesting works. Because the thing is, what I'm trying to do is I have parameterized yield farming. So inherently, I'm capturing the market sentiment during yield farming. With that, I'm trying to minimize the loss potential. So, for example, if you're depositing your capital into AAVE and you're earning interest, but still, like you will face losses because if the price itself goes down, which doesn't seem like it's happening, but that is a certain case. So, in those situations, you will get our instrument, and using off-chain AI models and like modeling techniques, simulation techniques, we can simulate it in a way to minimize your actual loss potential. So if you are actually taking loan, then you will get this instrument when the price goes up. So whenever you're in a loss position, we are trying to compensate for that.
Wow! So when AI meets blockchain,
I mean,
meets GeoCities.
The thing is, like within institutional finance, AI is a big thing right now, not blockchain, but blockchain is a new finance, and I think they will eventually emerge, but it will be quite different because within like institutional finance, it's mainly for trading, right? But I think with DeFi, it will be more about creating econometric models. So that is what I have been looking into. Yeah.
Amazing.
I usually give this advice that like when you take on this giant project, there are these holes and there's these weird things that you find that like, oh, like this little piece right here is totally missing in the space. I can get product market fit by solving that thing instead of you've definitely been in this expand mode. It might be good to go into a reduce mode and pick up. But my caveat there is maybe this like overwhelming crazy UX is exactly the kind of thing that will capture like your own community, and this is the thing that like like, you know, I could see a wave of people like diving in and just playing around with this and like getting into this UX. But I also would say kind of just like expand a lot, reduce down to something, and maybe even take this thing and leave it standing where it is, reduce down to something small and rebuild some small piece and try to launch that and see what kind of product market fit you get there also.
I agree with that, and that is why I added these NFTs. So these NFTs, the contracts have been audited. I'm just making the final check. So initially, I'll do the like NFT launch on mainnet, and after like getting some basic funds for auditing the other contracts, then I'll do the launch. And I agree with your like your suggestion, but the thing is, I essentially want to converge it with space tech. And I have been like having this thing for like past 5 months. Elon Musk purchased Bitcoin like yesterday, but I knew this thing was coming for like past year, because the thing is like we meme about, you know, mining Bitcoin on moon, like taking Bitcoin on moon, but actually like econometrically speaking, if we actually mine Bitcoin on moon, that is a feasible solution to actually establish research labs on moon, because like solar electricity, that will be more effective on moon because it doesn't have any atmosphere. And if you are a private entity and you are doing a space exploration feature, then you can't like, you know, get money from these ventures. But if you actually mine Bitcoin on moon, which is a meme, right? But it will actually have an impact on price, and it will actually help establish research labs on moon. So I think that is something that is doable in the coming decade, and I just want to get involved. And maybe that's why it's just kind of like, you know, bizarre project that I've been building too many different blocks together.
Yeah, I love it. You need to have crazy ambitious goals, you know, and this is definitely ambitious. I love it.
Any questions? Any suggestions?
What was hard for you? Like, give us something. Oh, it looks like we may be out of time. Okay, maybe we should go DM sometime or something like that. Feel free to reach out.
Sure.
I'd love to hear about your journey.
Sure thing.
Thanks so much, Rahul.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. All right, thanks everyone. We got one project remaining, ZEUS. Looks like it's a mobile app. I have the video. ZK, that's you, right? Yep. Okay. Cool. I have your video. I'm gonna play it in just 1 second.
And I'll talk over it, so don't be worried if you can hear.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so this is ZEUS. It's a sports prediction market. So really wanted to capitalize on a lot of the hype, not just around the Super Bowl, but around all sports being back. So big focus on the NBA, March Madness, and American sports initially. So each one of these would be a league, which would then have the bets or the matches, teams, and games under it. So what's shown is NBA, NFL, NHL, FIFA, MLB, and March Madness. And then I pull the results and matches for these games from the Chainlink API or Oracle Network. So yeah, the first tab is the league. The second tab is a game as well as some of the players. So in the APIs, they do have a variety of things that you could make a prediction on, including like how many points over or under a player will score, and then also their stats going forward. And then this would be linked to the Aave wallet, where you would actually be able to add leverage to your bets, and then this would show your winnings. And then one thing that I was exploring with was, so we'll have a native like ZEUS token, and then your winnings would be able to be either transferred or used for purchases for sports memorabilia or tickets or other prizes or tokens.
So that was the mobile side, and then this is the web dApp. And so yeah, you just have your match results, and then you can pick which side. So this was just on Kovan, but I did it for Golden State, but then for the example also did it for the Spurs on the other side. And then after this, you would actually be able to leverage. And one thing about sports betting, like they have like money lines. So it's like not always even, and there will be a spread sometimes that they need to cover. But then with Aave, a big thing was looking for like arbitrage opportunities. So this was one where a lot of times different sports books will actually have different lines on the game slightly. So using a flash loan, you could actually take advantage and be able to place those bets and, you know, capture a small, you know, thin spread that you couldn't really lose on. So yeah, that's more or less the demo. And yeah, would love to hear you guys' feedback.
Like that's an awesome UI for the mobile. I mean, I really loved like the clean and nice way how you presented it. Like the desktop like application looks a bit different. Like was that done by the same or like a different person, just out of curiosity?
No, I did it also, but I just didn't like style it as hard because mobile really was like the core focus. And then that was more just to make sure that like I could, you know, make a bet and had all the info and can make the calls and things like that. So the mobile's the main part of it.
What's the current status of the code base?
What do you mean?
How far are you on coding?
Oh, the code base is pretty far. Like the app you showed, the app in the demo, that could be released like fairly within the next like week or two. So that part's pretty far along, and then that's why I did some of the just like the smart contract calls and stuff. But a lot of that's all ready to go.
One question I had, maybe I totally missed this, but I see Aave, and I'm assuming there's some sort of like staking and maybe like yield redirection here, but how does the betting work? Are you betting with your yield? Are you betting with ETH? Are you betting with credit? Like how does Aave connect to sports betting in this scenario?
Yeah. So we actually created the lending pool so that people could deposit their tokens in to that and then also earn the interest on that while they're in the pool. And then they'd be able to get that interest either way, even if they lost the bet.
So really like no hard lockup of you stake toward Golden State, and if they win, you win your yield back, but if they lose, you lose your yield or something like that, which I mean, that's a perfect thing for using something like Ethereum. But like it's more like you took Aave, you stake some stuff, you earn some yield, but also we're going to do some sports betting over on this side and kind of like connect those two.
Yeah, exactly. And then that allows you to like claim those rewards, right? So you still had to make that the prediction beforehand, and then that would earn you a certain amount of potential if they did win.
And probably like just a total tangent to go on here, let it be a lesson to all of us that mobile apps or dApps are going to have to look like that before they get mass adoption. The current dApps that we have aren't usually mobile and it's getting way better in the space, but for the mainstream audience, that mobile app that you showed, that's what it's going to have to look like for us to be able to capture an audience.
Thank you.
Any last questions?
I mean, what about legality? Have we have we talked about, is this legal?
I think prediction markets are legal, right?
You should DM Joey Krug from Augur, who has spent a lot of time thinking about like building prediction markets and betting markets and the legality around it, and companies founded around that topic. Like he works at Pantera Capital, but he's also the founder of Augur. And if you DM'd him or messaged him on Twitter or something, I'm sure he'd be very interested.
Awesome,
Okay,
dude.
yeah.
I could also make an intro just in a conversation with him. So if you're interested.
Yeah, no, I definitely am interested.
And I further future hackathons, I want to see the functionality of the site wired into the mobile app, and I want to see all this working in a year.
Hopefully I'll get it to you in a month. So
All right, sounds great.
cool. And thank you guys.
Thank
for
you,
doing it.
ZK.
You guys are awesome. So
Good work, man.
man.
Good design.
cool. Bye.
All right. I think that's it. That's a wrap. Wow, thanks so much to everyone. I don't know who's still in the room that was participating, but thanks, Austin, Robert, Patricio, and Rochelle. Rochelle's been super silent, but she's been doing all the stuff behind the scenes. So thank you. Yeah, awesome. It's been super fun. Yeah, any last thoughts from you guys?
Well, I like the Pokemon one, Hacienda. It's the only one I click highlight.
Yeah, me too. That's it's so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to share some of these things on Twitter. I also really it's interesting always to see the perspective, the different vantage points that everyone's kind of coming at this industry from and this technology from. It really is it could be something as extremely complicated as putting Nintendo Cash on Optimism, which is you're getting involved with low level cryptography, or it could be trying to create sports betting markets, or it could be go to the moon and do Bitcoin mining. There's so many different ways you can get into this stuff. So yeah, it's always interesting to see that.
And I also
thank you, Liam.
By the nice UIs we have seen. I mean, quite a few of them are really nice. And it's the way. Thanks a lot.
I wish. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Oh, I wish I could get everybody together that is about to build their own UI and show them Scaffold ETH and be like, look, it's all wired up for you already. You just drop in your contract and you're going to have the UI. It would get them over the first couple of weeks, I feel like. And then there's a totally different learning period of just getting context for the space, right? Kind of going on a tour of duty and learning what tools are out there and kind of what people have already built. There's just a lot of context to gather before you can, really hit a home run. And, sometimes you can get lucky and just hit a home run, but a lot of cool projects. I love seeing these. This is always exciting for me.
Well, it's been a pleasure to share this panel with you. And until the next event.
Likewise. Yeah, I love hanging out with you guys. I can't wait to be together in person again, but this is still great.
Great. Have a good day, everyone.
Happy Tuesday. Hearts.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.